Welcome to this episode of Eye of the Swarm, your deep dive into anything and everything related to Yellowjacket athletics. He is the big sound Matt Johnson. I am John Garver, Season 6, Episode number 4.
I didn't look it up this time. Usually I do, but I didn't this time.
You have one job, Matt.
I know I failed. I'm sorry. I've ruined the podcast already.
That'll do it for this episode.
Yeah, that'll do it for this episode. Thanks very much for watching. Matt ruined it in 2 minutes. Not even. More like 2 seconds. Yeah. So here we are back again. It's been a couple weeks.
Yep. Crossover season's here.
Yeah, crossover season is here. Because you had to go watch men's hockey scrimmage?
No, I haven't done that yet.
Okay.
No. Got my first cold of the year.
Ah, that's right. Yes, it's been sweeping through the Garver household.
Yes, the first cold has come and hopefully gone. And,
yes. Well, your son is at that age now where they become really germy.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. 'Cause he's already brought home 2.
Yeah.
I was able to miss the first one.
Yeah.
Unlike Wile E. Coyote with the anvil.
Yeah.
But the second one got me.
Well, he's not the only one when it comes to being germy, as it turns out. Women's soccer had a problem with trying to play a team that was very germy.
Correct.
I don't know how far we want to get into that situation.
Not very.
No.
Not
but
very.
It's not good. Let's just say that. And the disease that is and the bug that is sweeping through the North Central women's soccer team is not a good one.
No.
So we will just wish them well and hope that they all get
healthy
healthy soon.
The soccer is not even not even secondary.
When
right
I
now,
heard about it, because Northwestern and North Central had to cancel their game for the same reason.
Right.
I'm like, that's a pretty serious bug.
Yeah.
Like that's a pretty serious one. So I can't divulge all the information, obviously, but it's not good.
Yeah.
So best of health to all of them down in Minneapolis.
Correct.
But the respiratory bugs respiratory bugs come in all shapes and sizes.
Mm-hmm.
I know it's been sweeping through your house. I know it floored your wife for a bit.
She's still fighting it.
Okay.
Well,
and respiratory bugs, they
I've
stick
been
around,
fortunate
man.
that it's probably been 10 days.
It's not like a stomach bug.
For her, it's going on over 3 weeks now, trying to push this thing
respiratory
out of her
bugs
system.
stick around, man. They don't move.
No.
They're not like digestive bugs where they come, they go, and that's it.
Right.
Nope. They linger for a while.
Yeah.
And the after effects even linger for a while.
You do. I mean, my voice still isn't right. It's
Right.
probably not going to be right for a couple more weeks. And trying to limp my way through a volleyball broadcast last weekend was just, ugh.
Well, let me put it this way.
Dugout bye.
But we're coming to that crossover season. All 4 of the winter teams are now in practice, at least. I think hockey, they had the men and women both have had an exhibition.
No, just the women.
Just the women. Okay.
Women, they had one 2 nights ago.
Yeah, they played Scholastica.
Saint Scholastica.
Yeah. So, and the men are coming up on one.
They play Friday and Saturday.
Okay. Yeah. So they've got a couple coming up. It's gonna be a busy weekend up on campus. There's a lot going on.
There is.
Men's, women's soccer is going to be home on the 26th. Volleyball has a double that day, which is weird because they want to keep an open day. We'll explain how that works a little bit more.
Well, I mean, in essence, in certain sports, it's about number of dates, not the number of games that you put on your schedules. So if they can preserve a date and double up in a spot,
they did this on the road with these 2 teams earlier in the year
that's
too.
That's what they do. So
well, North Central and Northwestern are going to be coming here to play UWS in women's volleyball. The games are at 12 and 5. There's some travel time in there as well.
Because
Northwestern's
playing Northland at 1
at the same time that we're playing
North Central.
So it's almost like a little mini tournament, almost in a way, because you're going back and forth. Anyway, those 4 teams are going to be playing each other, and essentially it's a round robin on that day.
Well, no, North Central and Northland are playing Friday.
Oh, they are.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're the only one playing a double. We're playing at 12 and 5.
Yep. And Northwestern.
And
they're playing at 1 and 5.
Yeah, and they're playing at 1 and 5
and traveling in between.
Yeah. So it's a little bit confusing, but yeah. But anyway, the upshot is that the Yellowjackets will be home for 2 matches on Saturday.
Correct.
So with the soccer teams, of course, they're playing in Martin Luther that day. Is that senior day?
For the women.
Okay, for the women it is. For the men, it's not.
Correct.
But the men, I think, can clinch the conference title that day.
Correct.
And
they can clinch outright with a tie or win.
And the women it's a little bit weird. The math is a little fuzzy.
It's a little fuzzy, but they can clinch on Saturday.
Can they?
Yes.
Okay, and the math is a little bit. We had the long story again.
Yeah.
I'm not going to get all the way into it. Suffice it to say, the women and the men are both in the driver's seat.
Yes.
And if they both win on Saturday, which we expect, they'll both be conference champs. For the women, it'll be 4 in a row, and for the men, it'll be what, 8, 7, 8? Is it 8?
Oh boy. They have one more playoff win than they do regular season, so it's either 7
One of it is 1 year
It's either
apart.
7 and 8 or 8 and 9.
Yeah.
And I'd have to go. I'm trying to look at the banner out in the field house right now, but I can't see it from here.
Well, you got a better eye than I do.
But I want to say it's going to be 8.
Okay. So we got that going on. Men's and women's cross country just participated down in the interregional, which by all accounts went pretty well.
Yep.
The women finished 6th in their race, and the men finished 12th. Now it's a little bit. The interregional is a different format.
It's a massive event that they split into 2 races per gender.
Yeah.
Basically.
So basically, you've got about 50 teams each, and they split them 25 and 25. So you've got 2 races for the men, too, because they've got 50. I mean, you can't run 50 teams at once.
Yeah.
It's just impossible. So they split them up into 25, and so the Yellowjackets were in the blue division of both races. The men came in 12th of their 25, or 30. Maybe it might have been 30.
I think it was 30.
And the women, they came in 6th out of their 25. So pretty good showings.
Yeah, real good showings.
Really good showings for both teams.
A couple PRs in there too,
Yep.
and Simone Stevens just keeps doing Simone Stevens things on the
Yeah,
women's side.
yeah,
My goodness,
she's
another PR for her.
She's another one I'm anticipating will have a big career here before she's done.
Yep.
She showed some flashes last year, but boy, that was in track. But
Yep.
this year she's really stepped in, and with Hallie Barker being injured, that helps a lot. And on the men's side, just consistent.
Yep.
Up and down the lineup, volleyball, as we said, 18 and 6 now on the season. They're 7 and 1 in the UMAC. They're probably going to go over 20 wins on the season, which would be nice. And then second place right now. Got some big matches coming up.
They do. It's a big week for them.
Yep, but they swept Northland on Tuesday night. Look good doing so. The men's soccer team is right now leading the nation in goals scored, goal differential, and shots attempted per game, and shots on goal.
Wow.
Number 1 in the country in all those. 70 goals now for the Yellowjacket men, just 10 given up on the season. Defeated North Central 6-0 on Tuesday. Scored 4 of those 6 goals in about a 5-minute stretch of the second half, where they were just putting the ball in the back of the net. Every time I turned away, there was another ball in the back of the net. So,
well, that happened last week for the women against Northwestern because they it's 1-0 at the half.
Yep.
And everybody's going, well, I guess we're not getting custard tonight.
Yeah.
And then the next thing you know, it's 6-0.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what happened, because the men had won their game 6-0. They scored their 5 of their 6 goals against Northwestern in the first half. The women scored 5 of their 6 in the second half.
Right.
So it was kind of a duplicate performance, really. I mean, they've been actually duplicating their performances pretty well.
Yeah, it's been pretty close, hasn't it?
Yeah. Every time the men score 8 goals, women score 8 goals. Every time the women score 6 goals, the men score 6 goals. Every time the men score 2 goals, the women score 2 goals.
Yep.
So it's been sort of but that's kind of situation. The men are 12-3-2 now overall, and they are, I want to say, 11-0 in the league. I think that's right.
I think that's right, yep.
And they've got 3 more conference games to go, starting with Martin Luther. Then they've got Northland, and then they close out with Crown. The women have 2 more conference games plus a non-conference date with St. Olaf coming up, and that'll be a road game. That'll be a tough one. St. Olaf's got a really good squad. But it's going to be an interesting couple of weeks. Like I said, they both could be lifting some more hardware, which has become habit for them on Saturday. Men's and women's cross country will be off, and they're getting ready for the UMAC championships on the 2nd of November. I'm trying to think of anybody else that I'm missing here. I think that's everybody that's playing right now. Or tennis?
Tennis, they closed out the fall portion on the women's
with a
side.
sweep?
Yep. Convincing
good.
sweep, too. I
Yeah.
mean, both 6-1 scores there. So
Bethany
really,
Lutheran and Stout, so they played real well. And so that's it.
they're done till February.
Yep. So
Men are done till
everybody's looking
February,
good.
so yeah,
Everybody's in a good
it's,
spot. Both men's and women's soccer in first place, and volleyball in second. So, and men's and women's cross country will be favorites again to defend their respective crowns on the 2nd. So there's a good chance there's going to be some conference hard work here coming up in the next week or 2.
Yeah, this is. You remember last year in the fall? I mean, it was a remarkable fall season here with the number of trophies that came in. So hopefully we have something somewhat similar again. Again this year.
Yeah, wouldn't mind adding a few more. Well, we all anticipate winning plenty, but
Right.
It could start as early as Saturday. So
Hard to believe.
yeah, exactly.
Hard to believe this. The fall season just
flew right by.
It just blew by us. It was unbelievable.
Yeah, and then of course that sets up also the tournament runs for both volleyball and men's and women's soccer as well. Will be coming up here in the next few weeks as well. So there's a lot happening right now.
There's a ton
there will
happening
be
right now.
happening a lot happening here, starting Saturday and then moving on.
Yep.
So
And we do know that men's and women's soccer will be at home for the semis on the 6th of November.
yep.
Obviously the opponents, we don't know who that's going to be yet, but we know they are going to be at home, and we know on the, if they advance, they're most likely going to be at home
again.
And that would be on the 9th, which is going to be one of the craziest days in the history of our department.
Yeah, there's a lot going on that day.
The Merrill Thompson's going on.
Yep.
The both hockey teams are at home that day. And let's throw in a couple championship soccer matches for good measure.
I was wondering, how many of the follicles are still left on your head. I don't know. There's too many, but every time something like this happens, it thins out a little bit more.
A little bit more.
Yeah.
A little bit more.
Yeah. So anyway,
Right.
that's the week that was. So.
All right. So a good stretch again for the Yellowjackets. And we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk to a couple of athletes from the volleyball team that is on a really good run here in 2024.
Yeah, they're having a really good season.
We'll have senior Jenna Anderson and junior Kapus joining us. So we'll take a quick break, and we'll be back with the roundtable segment right after this. You are watching and listening to Eye of the Swarm.
Find your passion. Find your people. Find your purpose. Find your superior.
We're back on the roundtable segment of this week's Eye of the Swarm, and it's time for us to turn to the volleyball court now. We are joined by Jenna Anderson and Kapus from the Yellowjacket volleyball team, and history in the making, our first athlete that we've had twice on the show.
I know, yeah. Well, I was thinking
Okay.
about this when you texted me last night or when we were talking, and I thought, I wonder who's going to get it. But I said, I bet it's going to be Jenna because she was really good the first time.
Full
we had her on.
disclosure, I did
Wow.
not. Coach did.
Oh,
I gave her the opportunity. I just need two people who can
who can talk?
carry a decent conversation, How's
So-
season
Oh,
going?
she's like,
Good.
Jenna
I
can
can't
talk.
have that person.
Yeah,
And
well,
we all know Jenna. She will
I was-
talk.
I will talk. Yeah.
I was going through it in my head, and I was like, I'm sure one of them was going to be Jenna, and I'm trying to think of who the other one might be. I was pretty sure it was going to be Jenna, but I wasn't like sure who the next person was going to be. Thankfully, Ella was perfect for it. Yeah, exactly. Thankfully, she was perfect for it. Yeah, exactly. So we're happy. Yeah, we had you here though, and when we had you here last time, though, it was sort of like half volleyball, half SAC committee stuff.
It was, yeah.
Yeah,
we did
it
a
wasn't just about volleyball.
went down the SAC road a little bit, yeah.
We talked a fair amount about SAC because I know you're heavily involved in it. So, president still. Are you still the
Yeah,
president?
I am.
Okay, yeah. So, I mean, it was sort of like an all-inclusive
Yeah.
almost last time.
Get
Like,
it all.
We talked a little bit about volleyball, but we talked a lot about what the student advisory committee does.
We
too.
did, yeah. Because that's I think it's something that doesn't really get a lot of play.
Right, yeah.
And so
Yeah.
it's important to see kind of what's going on behind the scenes and what they're thinking, what they want, what they like, what they dislike. So
Right.
it was a good opportunity to talk about some of that.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. And I, like I said, I know it's a big part of Jen's experience is the fact that she's been the president now for, was it 2 years?
I've been since the spring of 22.
Okay, so almost 3.
Yeah, almost 3 years.
Almost 3 years. So, yeah, I mean, I know that's people. I don't think people know what the student athlete advisory committee actually does.
Right.
A lot of the
Yeah.
time, and we talked about some of the stuff.
Right.
So it
Yeah.
wasn't just volleyball centric. So I could see having her back because she's Madam President has returned again. So there you go. Like, but that was. I don't know how many different topics we're going to talk about, but that was an interesting one because usually when we get an athlete and we talk just about their sport and all that kind of stuff, but with Jenna it was a little bit more balanced. We had a fair amount of conversation about things off the court. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. It's fun. And I'm here again, so I'm excited.
Yeah, 2 times in 2 years. It's pretty good. It's pretty good.
Let's talk volleyball.
Okay, let's do it.
Let's do that.
Do it.
Okay.
We won't go down the SAC road this time, but
Yeah.
we
We
could, but we're limited on time because some people have class. So
Yeah.
we do want to make sure we're mindful of the
But
clock
yeah,
and
yeah.
everything here and talk a little bit about what's turning into
Pretty darn
pretty good year.
Yeah.
Pretty good year. So let's talk about this a little bit because I can't remember when we've been
This good.
18-6.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what has that been like? What's led to basically a really good start that's just kept right on going?
Yeah, I think it started last year. We had a pretty good season last year going to the championship game again. And we only lost 2 seniors. So that was, I think, kind of just rolling with our starting lineup again. Was really good coming into the year. We got 2 really good freshmen. Well, Addie's a transfer, but kind of just like stepping into those roles that we did kind of lose and kind of just continuing. And we have been like really close too. So that's been also something I think that has helped. But I mean, our practices are competitive. And I think just the level of competitiveness that we have, like I think the freshmen coming in want to win that championship game, even though they've never been there. So I think that's adding to it too.
And the overall energy of the girls, like they just bring so much, and it makes it so much fun.
Right.
Yeah.
I feel like it's you because you've got energy. And
But I get it from
Positive
other
energy.
people too.
yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
It's
Yeah.
not just
I probably
me.
should have
Yeah.
said positive energy, but I mean,
Yeah.
I feel like that's a big catalyst in that.
Yeah.
Well, she always, whenever I enter the gym, I mean, and this goes back to the crown match. We talked about this. Ella and I did. I mean, I just happened to be there early, so I stayed for the JV match beforehand. And Ella was sitting next to me at the table, and we were just sort of smiling away. And it's like, but I mean, that's just, I kind of get the sense that's sort of how she is. She's just one of
you'll
those people.
never see me with an
where she's
RBF or
just-
anything.
like,
I'm not one for that.
she
that's
always
for sure.
smiles and is like, "Hi, good to see you."
Yes.
And you know, that's a gift.
Yeah.
That's a gift. I don't have it, John. I know you and I have talked about it. That's not really something you have. Jenna says hi to me every time I see her.
Yeah.
The other day, she yelled at me from inside a classroom, and I had to stop and
Yeah.
poke my head and say hi. So, I mean, some people have that ability. I'm not one of them. But yeah, Ella's always got positive energy. I don't think I've ever seen her where she's not smiling. You know,
Yeah,
so
that's very true.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
but that's a necessary ingredient too to kind of keeping things light sometimes because
Right.
not everything is rainbows and
No, it's not always smooth.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's always
It's not
not
always
you know.
smooth.
Yeah.
So you need somebody and you need that energy sometimes, and it seems like this group has got it because there's a lot of smiley faces on that team.
Oh, 100%.
You guys are a very smiley group,
Yeah.
and that's okay. That's what we want. We want a smiley group.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We
I
want a group
definitely
that's having
say
fun.
like Ella and I being captains together, like I'm learning so much from her, even though I'm older than her. But still, it's like, you know, she does find the positive in everything, and I struggle with that sometimes. Like I'm the really competitive one, so I always want to win, and sometimes I have to take a step back, like. What would Ella do in this
Yeah.
situation? Like,
Right.
We
Yeah.
really bounce off each
yeah,
other,
so
I feel like.
we're
Yeah.
definitely like kind of opposites. Well, I hope that I'm still positive, but
Right.
Yes.
we still like I'm learning so much from her in this experience being captain with her, and then also like I feel like she's learning from me because we're
100%.
kind of opposite in the way we, you know, maybe approach situations and how we deal with some of the things that go on in the team, and then just like leadership roles, like I feel like we just work so well together, so it's been really awesome to like learn from her,
Yeah.
especially with how smiley she is and how positive she is.
But
so.
she's not like. But the newcomers also seem like they're pretty upbeat.
Oh
You
yeah,
know, like,
Oh,
I've seen
yes.
Addie seems to walk around with a smile on her face.
Yeah.
a lot.
Oh,
McKenna
she's
Holbein
quite a
seems to walk
funny
around
one.
with a smile on
Yeah.
her face.
Yeah.
It's kind of contagious.
Yeah.
Gabby Schwartz also seems like she's
Oh,
pretty
yeah.
upbeat. You know, so
She's so
we
fun.
got a goofy bunch, that's
Yeah.
for sure. Like
yeah,
they're
I
all
mean,
kind of
it's-
goofy.
So the new players have come in, and it's nice to have that. Like you know, everybody's friendly and outgoing and happy, and it seems like you guys all get along pretty well.
Yeah,
so that's
we
also a
do,
big thing.
100%. Yeah, we're all super close, so that's been fun. And you know, I only have a few games left, so this year's been nice to like kind of take a step back and have so many girls that are so goofy that it's kind of like you're reliving that fun again, and it's not like a job where I feel like in maybe my earlier years it
Yeah.
felt like that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been nice to like kind of visit it again and have like that fun atmosphere, like now being a senior. So it's been fun.
I imagine too, like you started the year on a long road trip,
Yes.
and I imagine that probably really helped this.
Yeah.
Because it's your first trip. It's still really early in the year. You don't have classes to worry about yet, and you're stuck together
Yeah.
in a bus and in a
Yeah.
hotel
Yeah.
for how many days?
Right.
Yeah.
That really helped the bond.
Yeah.
I imagine that was a big
Our
part
drive
of it.
was straight to Texas,
Yeah.
18
No
hours or
stops,
whatever, no
really.
stops. And so we have to get creative on things to do and what to talk about with
Right.
everybody because, again, no school, so no homework.
Right.
So there's nothing that,
Yeah.
we can sit and kind of be away from everybody.
Mm-hmm.
So we have a little, like, fun freshman initiation that we do. So, yeah.
Yeah.
It's not hazing.
It's
No,
amazing, no.
it's something really funny. So
Right.
we do that and just kind of get everyone comfortable with each other. But that's kind of where it does start. And that was like the same thing when we went to Colorado. That was when you were a freshman,
Oh, my
right?
freshman year. That's
Yeah.
right.
So when we drove down to Colorado too, and same thing, just stuck like sardines in that bus, and so you get to know each other really well, to say the least.
It does
so.
get to feel like a sardine. Like
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
in there for a long time.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
You and I both know that. We've made those trips.
Yep.
So
Oh, yeah.
it's, yeah. I mean, if you're on a long trip, it definitely is important to make sure that everybody on the bus is having a good time with it because otherwise it can get to be a real real long
Real long
experience.
trip.
Yeah,
Yeah,
real long
exactly.
trip. So, but one of the things that I've noticed about this team, Mayana got banged up a little bit early in the year.
Yeah.
And some other players had to step up. But it seems like this team has got more options offensively than I've seen probably from a
There's a
UWS
depth there that there
Yeah.
hasn't been.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
No,
mean,
I
you've got
agree.
4 legitimate swingers now on the outside, plus 2 or 3 in the middle.
Yeah.
And I don't think we've had that in a long time. I mean,
Right.
you just go down the list. I can't remember the last.
I-
This is the deepest team I think I've seen.
Yeah, I think so too.
I agree.
And that's something that we talk about a lot with on this particular podcast with men's and women's soccer, is that they're extremely deep. Both those teams are extremely deep, and they play a lot of players, and a lot of players contribute. And for you guys, I feel like it's been kind of coming for a while, but I mean, the additions of Addie and McKenna, as far as adding them to the offense, has been a big deal, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
a huge deal, I
Yeah.
would say. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they both, I mean, have had big matches this year. I mean, they both have been player of the week at one point or another. McKenna had a really, really good weekend against North Central and Northwestern earlier on. And because you wonder when Mayana went down for a bit, it was like, ooh, who's going to step in now and play that outside role? And McKenna just seemed like she kind of fit right into it.
Right.
And Addie's been really good in the middle.
Yeah.
Especially after you guys lost Caitlin Ploutz in the offseason, you need another middle, and Addie's pretty much stepped in without much problem.
Yeah. No, I would 100% agree. Like when KP left, where I was kind of like, oh gosh, like that's a big
next?
shoe to
Yeah.
fill. So
Yeah.
having Addie just come in, and she's so funny on the court, so it's been fun to play with her. But she comes in and she just kills it. Like she doesn't
Yeah.
even no
There's no-
emotion.
yeah.
Like she just kind of shows
Very
up. and,
carefree. Yeah.
yeah, and so same with McKenna. Like being a freshman, like I came in as a freshman, and Mayana did, and kind of that starting role right away is really scary. So I feel like she's stepped in really well, and sometimes the pressure can be overwhelming, but I think she does a good job of bouncing back when it gets tough, especially with teams like Northwestern. I mean, they're not easy to play, so
Never have been.
it does get frustrating for sure when we play them, because it's like you can do all the things we've been taught, and it's still like, okay, they're still just killing the ball or blocking us and
Right.
stuff. So, but I think she's done a really good job of bouncing back from those, and kind of I feel like she's even grown since when we
Oh,
met her,
yeah.
like the first time, and
You can just see the confidence
yeah,
from her.
I think
which
she's
is really awesome.
forming into more confidence
Yeah.
than when she came in, and so that's been really awesome too. So
With all that, I mean, there's a ton of positivity here,
Right.
and winning helps that, but there's only one ball.
yeah,
There's only so many players that can be on the court at a time. How do you navigate some of that?
you wanna talk?
I would say it's definitely hard, but being on the sideline, I feel like we see so much, and we're always still helping,
Yeah,
and like we provide the energy. Like that's what our bench is for, is like to help the players who are out there on the court. And if they're struggling, like that's what we are for, to cheer them up, lift them up, I guess you could say. But it's hard, but I mean, it has its moments. And, yeah.
I would definitely say like we have a lot of girls,
Yeah.
and there is only 6 of us that play on the court, 6 to 7, I suppose, and you definitely can see that they're not just adding, like that depth in our team comes from them. So like we only get better because of them. Like we're scrimmaging them in practice, we're playing against them in practice.
Yeah.
They're right on your tail. Like it's not, this is the starting 6 and this is what it's going to be the whole year. We had a player go down, and we had 4, 5, 6 girls playing in that position. We had Addie even trying the outside. Like
Yeah.
there's definitely, although it does seem like there's 6 to 7 people that contribute to our team, like I'm only getting better because of the girls that are behind me, like competing in practice. So although it does seem like that, like in practice, I feel like our practices have only gotten more competitive because it's that fight for that chance on the court. And coach always says, like, you always have an opportunity. At any moment, somebody could be off in their game or somebody could get hurt. And, we need those people to come step in. So I think, like, understanding that their role isn't just I'm a bench player. Like, they are so much more than that. Like, practice players, and they're good teammates, and they cheer us on, and they bring the energy, and like any given moment could be someone's last time on the court, or last chance, you know, and they step in that role, and that could be them, you know. So I think it's definitely coming from high school. It's kind of a role that's hard to like change into, but it is essential for our team. And I think coach does a good job of, you know, switching it up at times in practice and giving girls chances. And we have those reserve games. So that's another opportunity to kind of show like, hey, like this is how I can play in a game. Like this is my chance. So I definitely say it's hard, but they have such an important role in our team. So
it's a very versatile group.
Yeah.
There's a lot of versatility in this group. Obviously, brought in another setter. You know, running a 6'2" versus a 5'1" has its own challenges.
Yeah.
Colleen's been, you know, pretty much the starting setter now for her entire career here, so she was settled in. But Gabby came in, and she seems like she's a good complement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, and I mean, Ella, you can speak to this more. I know Jenna, you know, being a back row player, you don't deal with it as much. But bringing in a new setter, that's a big deal, isn't it? And that's hard to get that chemistry.
Oh, yes. Right away off the bat, I feel like it was definitely, we had our ups and downs, but she really works hard to, like, listen to feedback that we give her and, like, even taking it from her. Like, she does a good job balancing that out and also just, I guess, working with us well.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
you know, I think that the two setters complement each other. Gabby's a little bit taller.
Yeah.
So you can play her a little
Yeah.
bit, you know, more at the net.
Right.
Colleen is sort of, I mean, I don't want to say she's completely undersized, but she plays the, you know, the defensive role really well. You know, her digs are always up there. Not as much as Jenna's, but they're always up there.
Yeah.
So I mean, they add a different look, don't they? The two of them?
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, even being a hitter, you have to work with every ball that you can get. It
Right,
doesn't matter.
yeah.
No set is going to be perfect. I mean, yes, some of them are, but no set's perfect.
You have to make adjustments as you
Yes.
can. Yeah. So, you know, and it's a team that is, when you guys are humming, it's fun to watch. It's a fun team to watch. And it's been nice to see that, you know, Coach Diedrich has been going into her bench a little bit more this year. I mean, there's been some players that have come up. Marina Sager is another one who sort of bided her time for a while, and now she's getting more time on the court. You know, I mean, Ayla's another year older from the outside. And so there's a versatility in a different kind of look to this team. You know, Sydney Smith's had a good year, I think, for the most part.
yeah.
You know, I mean, there's been some time, there's always hiccups, but especially like platooning with Addie in the middle. You know, so there's a lot of moving parts here that we're not used to. I mean, I think in the past we've seen maybe 7 or 8 players play every set.
Yep.
But this year she's really changed it up, and there's been some players moving around a little bit, which has been kind of neat to see. And that, as a broadcaster, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool to see, especially with some of the younger players who you know eventually, when the senior class goes, they're going to have to step in that role sometime in the future. So
Right. You brought up digs. Talk about the art of the dig.
she's got it down.
I know, and that's what I've seen.
Yes, we both have.
What are the ingredients of the dig? Is it reflexes? Is it anticipation? How much of it is athletic ability? I want you to talk about what goes into a dig.
Okay, I will. So most of the time, people just think it's like just instant reaction. I would say digging a ball is mostly reaction, but what some people don't know that aren't playing in the sport is that the defenders, we stand on the court according to the block. So where I am, if we're playing this certain defense, I'm off like the left shoulder of the hitter, or I'm filling the hole.
Okay.
So wherever what our blocking scheme is, that's where I'm kind of setting up camp. So that's where I'm getting ready for the ball to come over. And then I'm in a defensive position. Hopefully I'm stopped. That's one of the biggest things too, is like if you're still moving on defense, you have no time to react because you're still moving, your feet aren't set, then you can't react. So like my biggest thing is no matter if I'm in the wrong spot or the right spot, like just stop moving your feet. And then from that point on, once there's contact, then I kind of take 2 steps and then I'm ready to kind of go. So I'd say it's mostly reaction, but it does have a lot to do with our block. So wherever our block is, if they're late, if they're early, if they're late and then they're swinging, like all those types of things, like that affects what I can see. And then mostly too, just like watching the path of the hitter. So I have to look at the hitter, where they're kind of approaching from, and then that's kind of where I can also base off, like, are they going to hit this cut shot? Are they going to hit it deep? So I definitely say it's a lot of reaction, but it also does tie into, I do have to like actually look at what's going on in front of me too. So no, I'd say reaction, but mostly being stopped and just kind of throwing your body out wherever you see a ball. And my mentality is every ball is mine and no ball should drop on the floor. So I go for anything and everything. So
I feel like that's pretty much a common theme, though, I think, for liberos or defensive players. It's just we got to make sure, like, the mindset's got to be we have to get this ball up.
Yep.
It's never going to hit the floor.
Yeah. I'll run into people before I let the ball drop. Like,
Right.
I will.
People, chairs, coaches,
Yeah.
doesn't
Yeah,
matter.
chairs.
Yeah, exactly. You know, and
Chairs a few
so
times.
obviously that's not always going to be the case. And sometimes you're going to, someone's going to have a great swing and there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah.
But the mindset does not change. You still have to have that mindset of this. I'm getting this ball up no matter what.
Yeah.
And I've seen Jenna this year. I don't know if it's just been this year or not, but I've seen a lot of one-handed digs, which I have not seen before. I know those are really tough. Those one of those where you just have to go on instinct and try to just get something on it
Right.
and keep the play alive. But it seems like you guys' back line has been pretty darn good this year for the most part.
Our defense has been really good, so that's been fun. And I like that when we play some defenses that I have like more of the court. So that's what I like, because then I'm like, everything is mine.
Right.
And so that's fun. But yeah.
So fairness then. Art of the Kill.
Kill.
That sounds like a mystery novel, actually.
Well, the art, there's some extra components to the kill.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
So,
Can
in
you
fairness,
please tell me about it? Because I don't know how it feels.
I would say it's definitely like timing for sure, like with your set and the farness away from the net that you get, because you will have to be transitioned back, strong arms. Coach is always telling us to like high elbow, pretty much with that.
Well, the
And
approach
then-
has to be just right.
Yeah,
Like,
that's true too.
yeah.
I mean, some are 3 steps, some are 4 steps. Being an outside compared to a middle, like 3-step approaches for the middle, outsides are 4. So then that's kind of like a bigger difference. Even the speed.
Yeah.
There's so many different things that go into that. With
do you have an idea of where you're going as you're going up? Or are you kind of eyeballing that as you're going up?
I feel like you kind of have an idea, especially like playing for so long, it just becomes natural. But I feel like it's definitely. You can kind of guess it too, because you have an idea where the ball is going to be set and how far out it's going to be. So I guess you can just line it up with that. But yeah, I mean, I would say there's not much to it being a hitter, but there's so many different things, and like arm swing, like what you're going to do, even tipping, hitting
Hitting
roll
high off the
shots.
block,
Yeah.
hitting low.
There's so much you have
Like
to look
even
out
just
for
like
too.
knowing their
Yeah.
defense. Like we talk a lot about like where do they go when our outside's hitting, or where are they? What defense are they playing when our middle's hitting? So
Yeah.
that's also something that I think Coach does really well. Is she like marks the paths of like our hitters,
swings, yeah.
and then we can see like, okay, so when you swing here, like you're not gonna get a kill. There's a defender right there.
Right.
So like tip here or roll here or. So those are kinds of things I think like help the hitters. I mean, I don't really know specifically,
Right.
but those are things that we do work on that I think in practice. Like yesterday, working on hitting line, like that's a place that we're gonna get kills. So doing that, and I think that helps also when you're kind of, so much is going on. You're worried about your timing in the set and where your feet are and where's your elbow and where's this and that, and then going up there and being like, oh no, like where do I hit?
Yeah.
It's nice to have those things back in your mind.
And especially having the back row tell us where to go too, because they're the ones that see the blocks, see where there's open spots on the opposite side of the court, and so that's, I mean.
Well, and the back row also kind of starts the play usually, right?
Yeah.
Because it always comes off of they call it the bump set spike.
Yep.
Like, if that's and that's. I mean, it's somewhat simplistic, but that's really like the sequence of events.
Yeah.
Because the odds are, is that like for instance, if the other team is serving, it's probably going to go to either Jenna or some other defensive specialist in the back. Mm-hmm. And then depending on how well she hits or how well she receives that and gives it to the setter, then it's going to dictate how the set is.
Right.
So if the set is, if the initial pass is good, and then the set's going to be good, then it's going to make someone like Ella's job a lot easier. Mm-hmm. Because now the ball is right where it's supposed to be, and now she can read it, and now she can make a play. So it's a very all-inclusive situation trying to get that kill.
Definitely can't do one without the other.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
So that's what I think volleyball is so fun, is like, although my job might not be like what you cheer for as much as like the hitter, like I'm still such a big role, in the team, and same with the setters, like they don't get all the credit that I think they also deserve. So it's kind of like, although the big kills and the big blocks, but that probably feels amazing. I have no idea. But, actually,
You do have
I do have 10
kills,
career
and that's-
kills. So,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
but it's just, that's why I think volleyball is just such a different sport, is because you do need every component in
Right.
order to have a good rally and win a set. Like,
Right.
it takes everybody, so.
One of the things that also our crowd though does well, I think, is they recognize a good defensive play. Because there's been plenty of times where I've heard the gasps or the cheers after Jenna's made a great game, or the team has like sent it over when they probably shouldn't have.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, so then you've had those events too. Obviously, everybody likes the big kill.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
The big kill is a big crowd pleaser, but
Right.
those defensive plays are just as important.
Yeah.
Like you got to keep that ball from hitting the ground.
Right.
And I'm always impressed with the lengths you guys are willing to go to make sure that ball doesn't hit the ground.
Yeah.
John and I have talked about this in the past. Flying all over the place.
Right.
Then you have to get back in the system.
Yeah.
After that
Ready
happens.
for the next one, yeah.
Puffin, yeah.
So there's a lot of communication, there's a lot of movement. Calling an extended rally can be tough. It is for me. John's
Yep.
done it too.
Yep.
But it's fun to watch it.
Yeah.
Right.
And then the back and forth is pretty cool. But when you get out of system, it gets a little hectic,
Yeah.
to say
I
the
would
least.
agree. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know we're kind of up against it here because somebody's got to get to class, so we'll wrap it up here. Any final thoughts?
It's you guys are having an incredible year. I think the expectations for the volleyball program have risen since you both came to UWS. I think you guys are both a part of it, so congratulations on that. And a lot of success coming forward. You guys are 7-1 in the league. I can't really complain about much other than about that. 18-6, take that all day long. And I know you guys have got a couple big matches on Saturday, so
Yeah.
Absolutely.
yeah, that's
North
gonna.
Central and Northwestern.
Yep.
It's gonna be a weird day though. Like doing that
Yeah.
double is.
I know,
We were
yeah.
talking about that in the previous segment. We were talking about the double is kind of a strange
Right.
thing,
Yeah, I
but because you guys did it earlier in the year with them too and flip flopped it, but it was. It's an interesting feature, shall we say, of the volleyball schedules.
Yeah.
Keeps the momentum going.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I know it makes for a long day, but it should be a fun day as well.
Yeah,
I'm
senior
excited.
night.
It's senior day,
Yeah.
so.
No
Lots
tears?
to look for. Well,
Can't guarantee anything.
I'm gonna try not to, but so Holden doesn't have to take photos of me just bawling.
I'm sure he would appreciate that, but he'd also be like,
He'll
look at
probably
the
zoom
emotion
in
on
like,
Anderson.
look
Right.
at this
Yeah.
girl.
Yeah, exactly.
That's going to do it for this episode of Eye of the Storm. We want to thank Jenna Anderson and Ella Kapus from the Yellowjacket volleyball team for stopping by. For the Big Sound Matt Johnson, I am John Garver, and thank you for watching and listening to Eye of the Storm.